On a seemingly ordinary morning in the summer of 1984, Indian Airlines Flight 405 prepared for takeoff from Srinagar Airport. The Boeing 737 was bound for New Delhi, carrying 68 passengers and 4 crew members. What began as a routine domestic flight quickly became a nightmare, a moment etched forever in India's aviation history. The cabin bustled with activity as passengers settled into their seats, checked their watches, and exchanged greetings. Among them were families returning home, business travelers planning their presentations, and tourists soaking in the beauty of Kashmir. But hidden among the crowd were 2 men who harbored a sinister plan that would disrupt everything. The flight crew, led by Captain K.K. Sodhi, completed their pre-flight checklist as the engines roared to life. Just minutes after takeoff, Flight 405 soared above the valleys of Kashmir, en route to its destination. The passengers leaned back, expecting to relax over the short-haul journey. Little did they know, terror was about to take hold at 35,000 feet. Roughly 20 minutes into the flight, the calm was shattered. 2 men left their seats in the middle of the cabin and began making their way toward the cockpit. What followed was a moment no one on the flight would forget, a calm voice turning cold and commanding, followed by chaos. The hijackers stormed the cockpit, waving handguns and grenades in the confined space, demanding control of the aircraft. Captain Sodhi's heart raced. One of the hijackers shoved a pistol into his side while the other barked out orders. The plane was to be diverted immediately, destination, Lahore, Pakistan. Sodhi tried to reason with the men, but their demands came sharp and unwavering. The flight crew had no choice but to comply. The safety of every passenger on board hung in the balance. Back in the cabin, panic spread like wildfire. The once ordinary flight had turned into a nightmare. Passengers clutched each other tightly, some murmuring prayers while others silently tried to measure their next moves. Flight attendants, trained for emergency scenarios, struggled to maintain calm but found themselves under the demanding eyes of the hijackers. The hijackers identified themselves as part of the Students' Islamic Movement of India and declared that this act was a statement against oppression. They threatened bloodshed if their demands were not met, a gruesome outcome that no one on board wanted to imagine. The plane crossed the border swiftly, landing at Lahore's airport under the watchful eye of the Pakistani military. The tarmac was host to a tense standoff. Pakistani officials surrounded the plane at a cautious distance, uncertain of what devastation could follow if their next steps weren't calculated precisely. The passengers remained hostages in what felt like an unending nightmare. Inside Lahore's airport, negotiations began. The hijackers demanded safe passage and political asylum, coupled with the broadcast of their demands worldwide via the Pakistani media. Outside the plane, officials weighed their options, knowing that any misstep could lead to catastrophe. For the passengers aboard Flight 405, those hours felt infinite. A mother whispered words of comfort to her young child, hoping to shield him from the terror unfolding behind her eyes. A business executive leaned against his seat, attempting to mask his trembling hands while others sat rigidly, awaiting a miracle. As tensions mounted, the Pakistani authorities made their decision, a calculated strategy to defuse the crisis. They amplified the urgency of negotiations, working to delay the hijackers while discreetly deploying a rescue operation. The pressure was growing for all parties involved, and time was running out. The harrowing ordeal came to a sudden head. Under the cover of strategic deception, Pakistani commandos moved swiftly to neutralize the threat. Storming the aircraft, they took the hijackers by surprise, disabling them with precision and force before they could react. The cabin erupted in screams, fearful at first, then mixed with relief as the passengers realized rescue had arrived. Within moments, the hijackers were subdued, their weapons confiscated. The passengers were ushered off the plane, still trembling from the trauma, but grateful to be alive. The nightmare was over, but its shadows would haunt those aboard Flight 405 for years to come. In the aftermath, Flight 405 became a symbol of resilience, but also a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities in aviation security during the 1980s. Pakistan's swift response to the hijacking was praised worldwide, but the incident prompted urgent calls for stronger counter-terrorism measures in air travel and better cooperation across borders to prevent similar crises. As the world reflected on the hijacking of Flight 405, the passengers and crew carried their scars privately, memories of fear, courage, and survival all etched into their minds. For Captain Sodhi and his team, their bravery under impossible circumstances became a source of quiet admiration. And for the hijackers, the incident served as a chilling testament to how acts of terror may be staged, but never forgotten. The story of Flight 405 isn't just about a plane stolen in midair. It's a story of human resilience, of fear confronted and courage found in moments of deep uncertainty. And it's a reminder that even in the darkest skies, the will to survive can shine brighter than despair.